Wow. We are live. We are live on a Thursday. This is a new thing, listeners. Listeners on the old podcast feed. We love you all. We love you all. It's Cop on Live. We're going to come at you wherever you are, whoever you are, around the world on the YouTube channel. You have to look up Cop on Podcast YouTube channel on Google and you will find us. Please subscribe, please like it and all that stuff. And we're going to do a preview show every Thursday now because on Friday I figured out that there are so many wonderful content creators who had shows at exactly the same time doing exactly the same thing, previewing Premier League matches. So I thought it'd be better to give you something on a Thursday that I can upload. I'm not going to edit it, so all of our faults, all of our foibles, all of our mistakes and, the stutters when we get too nervous talking about Mo Salah or Sadio Mane, I'm just going to leave them all in there. But you're welcome. This is going out on YouTube. It's going out live, so people can, get into the chat. You can do some live things. So hopefully we're going to have a couple of comments in the chat as we go. But I'm delighted to be joined by Ryan and Abdul for this special, first time on a Thursday Premier League preview show for our YouTube and podcast listeners. And just before we get going, Christmas is coming. Okay, Christmas is coming. And if you're like me, you're a completely lazy and disorganized individual. And if you are like me, that's okay. I think laziness and disorganization are looked down upon in society, but I think it should be encouraged. Like if more people stayed in and did nothing and were fine with that, just watching TV, playing games, doing whatever you want, then it's good for the environment. This is how I justify it. Okay, so yes, my social life is it's a once in a blue moon thing, but also it gives me time to look at loads of videos on YouTube to teach, to learn things, teach myself certain.
I think he's gone.
Oh,
Whoa! I lost my connection there. Sorry, I was rambling. Did I disappear for a while?
You got stuck.
3 seconds. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it's the connection. It's all right. I've been having. If you move to France, don't go with SFR. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Will do.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, what was I rambling on about? Can't remember. But basically, Christmas is coming, and if you're disorganized like me, I recommend the easiest thing you can possibly do for anyone who loves Liverpool Football Club around you, maybe even yourself. Maybe you can ask someone else to do that. Is go to Cali Designs, who have, gladly, happily, really amazingly sponsored us for our YouTube stuff. So you go to Cali Designs, go.co.uk, and Cali is an amazing Liverpool artist. And I'm going to show you Ryan and Abdul and, anyone watching on YouTube, some of his amazing work right now. Hang on. There you go. Ryan, you're a verbose man. If I get rid of this filter on, which is actually
I'm loving Jurgen Klopp with this weave.
Yeah. So, describe what you're seeing, Ryan.
So it's Jurgen Klopp with the craziest, bushiest of hair. He looks like Captain Caveman
filter. Yes,
Captain
he does.
Cave.
There you go. I've taken the filter.
And there he is, looking very handsome.
We see Cali's artwork, and I'm going to show you in great detail Cali's artwork of Jurgen Klopp there. Can you describe it, Ryan, just how freaking brilliant it is?
It's incredible. Can I ask, is this a photo or
it's an actual drawing? Exactly.
That's incredible. Like that level of detail, that photo realism deserves praise. Deserves to be on your wall, viewer / listener.
Yeah, and me, but my problem is I don't even have a nail to put it up on the wall, but I've got to go. That's my next thing. I've been so disorganized and lazy, as I was referring to earlier, that I haven't even got a nail to put this up. But anyway, it's freaking brilliant. Abdul, what do you think of this the listeners can only imagine?
Well, from my untrained eye, I would say that's great sketch work there, great use of the HB2 pencil. You know, he's really captured Klopp's beard in a, you know, really startling light. I think it's a really photorealistic rendering of Klopp's likeness. I think it's excellent work. You know, can't rate it
Lovely.
higher. Definitely
It's
something for the connoisseurs.
Absolutely. And you see, all you have to do for Christmas is you go to calidesigns.co.uk and you put in the code COPON10 and you can get this incredible artwork. Or, for example, I'll show you one more and then we'll actually get on with what we're going to do, and that's preview the Premier League matches for this weekend. But listeners, you can only imagine how good this is. But this is Thiago Alcantara in mid-jump, sort of jumping and controlling a ball. And honestly, it's 10 out of 10. You get the movement, you get the movement, you get the energy, you get the excitement. And in my opinion, you can understand just from looking at the art how much of a fan Cali is of the team, of the players. You know, Thiago, he really captures his essence. And I've got to say, I'm not just saying it because he's a sponsor, because I don't allow being sponsored by anyone. I was just really happy to be sponsored by Cali because he's freaking brilliant. Anyway, let's go through. Let's start. The Premier League is here. It's back. And I just Googled before we started the longest geological period in history. And it was the Precambrian period. That's what it's known as. And it went from the formation of the Earth about 4.53 billion years ago and ended about 542 million years ago. So it lasted about 4 billion years. Ryan, did the last international break seem a bit longer than that to you? Because it did to me.
I had short hair when it started.
And for the listeners, it's now extremely long. Yes.
Yeah, it's like past my neck.
It's great hair. It's great hair. So tell us, this weekend, okay, what started? The first game is Leicester versus Chelsea. Okay. You know, a bit of intrigue. I don't know. What's the most intriguing thing that, you know, jumps out at you from that fixture off the bat, off the cuff?
So I think this is a real test of Chelsea's title credentials. Looking at opposition fixtures, and I tend not to do this that often, but when I look at the list of fixtures, it's this sort of game away at Leicester, you know, higher end of mid-table / lower end of the top of the league. These are the games that you want your rivals to drop points in, or you hope that are most likely for your rivals to drop points in. And I think if Chelsea can get a win here, it kind of demoralises. I remember when we beat Leicester, I think it was either just before or just after we got back from the Club World Cup, the season we won the league. And I thought it was a massive result for us when we beat them. And I think if Chelsea can get a win away at the King Power, then it sadly is a big result for them.
Yeah, it's a great answer. It would be a really big result, wouldn't it, Abdul? I mean, yeah, it's you know, Jurgen Klopp. What am I talking about? Thomas Tuchel. Get my German managers mixed up. Tommy Tuchel, Tommy Ball against Brendan Rodgers, and I don't know. You know, Leicester are unbeaten in their last 3 home matches against Chelsea. They've won 1, they've drawn 2. Is it time for a Chelsea win, or has Brendan just got the better of Chelsea in general?
Good question. Yeah, like Ryan says, it definitely is a big test of Chelsea's title credentials. I think everybody agrees that they're, well, I think unless you're a City fan and even non-City fans, I would say that, you know, it's between Chelsea and City right now as the 2 favorites, and Chelsea out ahead. They're pretty good form. But this is where the season actually starts, isn't it? Like all of those 11 games before this point, it's just kind of like, you know, getting to grips with it. But I think Liverpool are on like every 3 days for the next 6 weeks now, aren't we?
It's beautiful.
Literally. So I can imagine Chelsea are going to be on a similar kind of run. So yeah, this is it where they have to really prove where Tommy Tuchel proves his credentials, like what he was brought in for. I don't know if he's going to win. I think, are they away from home?
Yeah, is that Leicester? It's going to be at the order it appears on the screen. So Leicester are at home for this one.
So I reckon Rodgers will want a result as well. So I mean, obviously he won a result, but I think it might be a tight one. But I don't know. I really don't know. I'm really excited. But just a quick side thing. Just as we started, actually, there's a big announcement. Premier League's just announced a new 6-year deal with NBC worth more than $2 billion. So
wow,
yeah, a lot more money hopefully pouring into our pockets.
Well, I mean, it'd be nice if it was our pockets, but yes, I think I know what you mean. Like you mean in terms of the club, yeah, absolutely, yeah, totally. Well, that is big news. That is big news, and yeah, fantastic. Okay, great for the clubs, great for the league, marvelous stuff. That's good to know. With Leicester and Chelsea, I'm going to stay with you, Abdul. I'm going to ask you both the same question. Abdul, do you think Chelsea, because Chelsea, if you look at the XG table, they are +7 for goals, expected goals. So they've scored 7 more than expected, and they're actually -7 for goals conceded. So they should have conceded 7 more goals. They're being very clinical. They've been very clinical. And of course, Mendy, especially Mendy in goal, Edouard Mendy has been absolutely fabulous for them at the back. But I mean, is that going to revert to the norm? Have they been a bit lucky, or have they just got brilliant players? So it's normal that the XG model, you can chuck it out the window. What do you think, Abdul?
Yeah, I could go on about this for ages. I've got theories about the whole, statistical revolution of football and blah, blah, blah. Overall, I am a supporter of XG and XA and all of it, and I think it is a good step forward. I do feel, however, it doesn't tell the full picture. But yeah, in terms of Chelsea, I think, yeah, over time it will probably revert to the 0 point. But I think what Chelsea have done really well since Thomas Tuchel came in is like, first things first, he set up a very clear system and a structure. He galvanized the players, got them motivated, got them back behind him, changed the energy around the squad, because obviously they're a bit downhearted after, what was happening with Frank. But then individually, the quality is there that they can create luck. And I know Klopp says it a lot, but like you have to create luck by fighting for the smallest margins, and then you'll get that little lucky break. And I think Chelsea are doing that really well at the moment. And I think Thomas Tuchel is using his squad very, very well as well. When it comes to the fullbacks, he's playing people on merit, and they're giving them performances that that he picked them for. And Havertz is now kind of starting to get into it, and the midfield's always been solid. The backline's always been solid, but I think they've hit a really nice bit of flow, Chelsea, and I can see them extending their form. It's just about whether they can survive this next period, because everybody's going to come for them. They are the team at the top, and everybody's going to be gunning to give them a scalping. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think he's been in this situation before, Tuchel. He's at Dortmund, he didn't really challenge for the title. At PSG, the title was a given. Last season, it wasn't really for him to challenge for a title, considering where he joined them at. So this is his first proper real, he's got pressure on his head, basically, and he has to deliver. So it'll be interesting to see if he loses his head or if he keeps it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say when he was at PSG, he had a lot of injuries, but the season when Lille won, just a couple of seasons back, when he lost the job at PSG, he did sort of, there were lots of cracks in the armor, but that could have just been due to the injuries to the players. But no, that's a really, really good answer. Thank you, Abdul. And Ryan, what do you make of it at Chelsea? Because I mean, it could just be down to the opposition as well. I mean, Leicester have kept just one clean sheet in their last 17 Premier League games. So, I mean, anyone can score against Leicester these days. What do you think about Chelsea, though? Do they deserve to be where they are?
So the league table doesn't lie, certainly not at this stage in the season. I think Chelsea do deserve to be where they are. Thought they were great when they turned up at Anfield. I thought they were really hard to break down, and that's what title-winning teams are built on that really strong back line, and they've got that. Leicester seem to be struggling from almost the same problems that Klopp had when he was at Liverpool, in that they play some really attractive football, but they're defensively weak. Not don't get me wrong, a lot of that's come from injuries this season. They've not got Fofana, they've had James Justin missing for large parts of it. Indeed, he's been out for large parts of it. I'm not convinced by Rodgers as an elite level manager, and I was a big defender of Rodgers during his time at Liverpool. So for my mates watching this, there'll be a bit of a got your moment there. But I think I just think Leicester are the perfect team for Chelsea to play right now, in that they will come at them, and sure, they're all right at counter-attacking football, but it's not the kind of football that I associated with Rodgers when he was here. And I just think they'll be a little bit too open, they'll be a little bit too soft at the back, and even with Lukaku out or Werner out, Chelsea have got at least one goal in them in this game, I think, and I think they will get it. And I'm not convinced Leicester can penetrate that back line. Although, Jamie Vardy's Jamie Vardy, so who knows?
I also think, sorry, all of this United stuff around Rodgers as well. Do you think that might be turning his head slightly? Might make him a bit more, do something reckless this weekend, or has?
I think it's inflating his head a bit. More pictures of himself in his office, but other than that, I don't think he wants to go to. I secretly think that Rodgers wants the Chelsea job, and that'll be the next big club he goes to. I don't think he wants. I think he knows Rodgers isn't stupid, if a little bit egomaniacal. I think he knows how much of a mess United are in fundamentally, and there's a much better setup there at Chelsea for him if he just waits it out, and eventually he'll get that job, but not if he gets the United job.
I think it's curious. I think if he was offered the United job, he would take it. I don't think he's loyal to having managed Liverpool once, although I think he should be. I don't like it if managers, do a Luis Figo, so to speak, or even players do it, and they go from one rival club to another. I don't like that, but that's just me and my sort of, I don't know, my foibles, my tribal nonsense. But no, it's very, very interesting. Of course, us Liverpool fans, we're going to be supporting Leicester. I see Josh is in the chat now. Thanks. Hi, Josh. Sorry about the mix-up with the times. He was going to join us to give us a point of view from Chelsea, but I completely messed up the times. Excuse me, time difference is all a bit complicated these days. And Alan asked, what's for dinner, Abdul? Have you got anything nice for dinner?
I already had pasta. Don't worry, I won't put you guys through that already.
Very nice. Very nice. Alan. Okay, let's move on then. I'm not going to do predictions because anything can happen basically. But Wolves versus West Ham. Let's move on to the next fixture. Last season, West Ham completed their first league double over Wolves since the 1922-23 season. So 98 years ago. Moisey's working wonders. Of course he is. I mean, they beat us. On reflection, Ryan, they beat us. They had 3 shots on target the whole game. They had 7 shots in total. We had 16 shots with 5 on target. Although, yes, there were parts of that game that were very, very ugly from a Liverpool point of view. I said in the last podcast that our defensive midfield work. I mean, it looks like our midfield is made of mashed potato. We're that soft. But I thought, nevertheless, we were unlucky to lose that game. In retrospect, would you agree? And what do you think about this Wolves West Ham? It should be a huge test for them tomorrow. Saturday.
So no, I don't think we were unlucky to lose the game against West Ham. I thought we made our own look in that game. I thought we were poor in midfield, and ultimately it cost us. I think it'd be the most David Moyes thing, having just come off the back of a big win over Liverpool, to go out and get done by Wolves. That being said, I think there's a genuine steal to West Ham this season, and I think it's a good time to be a West Ham fan. It's the nicest way I can put that.
But you said earlier, Ryan.
It's mental.
Yeah, never seen them so good. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, I haven't seen them so good since the 90s when they had Joe Cole and Rio Ferdinand coming through and Lampard. They were, really exciting young team then. But yeah, exactly. This team's probably even better. Absolutely. You said before, Ryan, that the league table doesn't lie. That means that West Ham are third. West Ham are better than Liverpool?
You've done me there. No, they're not. But they have had a better start to the season. They just have. The performances against us at their horrible, horrible stadium was brilliant. I thought they had moments of class. They had bottle for days and actually went after us in a way that very few teams do outside of like City, essentially. Chelsea didn't go at us like the way West Ham went at us. Although Chelsea were at Anfield.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like everything about David Moyes that we thought we knew about him from Everton days and the Man United days and Real Sociedad and wherever else he went. It all just feels like it's like he's a new man. He's like got amazing tactics, got his team playing this high pressing football, gung ho. Antonio swaggered, like Declan Rice breaking everybody's eyeballs. It's really good time to be a West Ham fan. And I've known West Ham fans through my life, and they always want good attacking football and always been disappointed in the results that they get. But yeah, literally what a time to be a West Ham fan. So yeah, long may it continue. Well, not for Liverpool. Obviously, hopefully Liverpool can. But yeah, long may it continue for West Ham fans.
Yeah, I mean, but they got to drop points at some point. And Wolverhampton Wanderers, I mean, they're in 8th place on 16 points. And I think Bruno Lage has, shown himself already to be very astute. He brought in a Hwang, really good player. But I haven't seen much of them, I'll be honest, in terms of full 90s, but I've caught highlights. I've been following the results. And they've for example, they've conceded 12 goals, which is the same amount as Brighton, but they've conceded 5 fewer goals than Manchester United, 1 fewer than Arsenal, 1 fewer than West Ham. They're very organised, and that's the thing that is impressing me with Bruno Lage. Have either of you been keeping any kind of eye, close or far, from on Wolves and the Wolverhampton Wanderers?
So a really good mate of mine's a Wolves fan, so I've always got a little bit of a soft spot for them, and obviously the Conor Cody connection as well helps. I think to use a very cliched phrase, it's a transitional season. They've spent so long with Nuno at the helm. Bruno Lage has come in. I don't think it's a full an entire sea change. They've not gone from being, I don't know, a Sam Allardyce team to Barcelona under Pep, but there are changes there that are making them a little bit more expansive or a little bit more pleasing on the eye, at least. Jimenez coming back in has been really important for them. I thought Hwang has come in and done really well for a guy coming in from the Austrian league. We've seen it with Taki. It's not always the most seamless of transitions, but that guy looks really strong, really suited to the physicality of the Premier League.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's doing really, really well. It's something that they can improve on. Wolves is goals and becoming more expensive. They've only scored 11 in 11 matches. But Josh in the chat, he says Wolves are getting better and better week by week, and it was always going to take time. But
yeah, I agree with that.
For the way they play now against Nuno, I mean, it's an obvious improvement, isn't it? It's really, really good. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And the next one, I was listening to the Anfield Rap earlier. I really love the Anfield Rap. Neil Atkinson summed this up really well because he said it's a game that if I were Man United, I wouldn't be asked with. Watford, Man United, because Man United are expected to win. But Watford have shown signs of improvement, under Ranieri. They look harder and harder to beat. They've got more and more to look forward to. And so if Man United win, then it's like, well, okay, they beat Watford. But there's seems to be a lot more chance that they won't win, Abdul, compared to a few weeks ago, certainly. What do you think of this one?
Oh, the circus that is Man United. Yeah, to be fair, I think Atkinson hit it on the head. If they win, they don't even really savor their victories anymore. They just want Ollie out. And if they lose, they want him out even more. So I don't really know what much to say about him. Yeah, I don't know. It's a big challenge for Ollie. He needs to start pulling out the results out of the bag now. He needs to start getting performances out of the bag now as well. Because if the rumours are to be believed, United are looking at replacing him very, very soon, or at the end of the season. Watford, yeah, I've been kind of impressed with Ranieri, but I'm not 100% sure if they will get a result here. But they are at home. I think Ranieri's put in 2 weeks of work, so yeah, there might be a surprise result there. It'd be great to see.
I mean, it certainly would. What would you do if you were the Man United board? I mean, isn't Zidane still out of a job? Surely you would, go for him, over Ollie to.
Yeah.
So I was listening to Julien Laurent talking about this, and he was saying that Zidane's waiting for the France job after the World Cup. So if I was Zidane, I wouldn't go near United. There's nothing there for him.
I think they got potential though. Sorry for losing the connection again. That will happen once in a while as the satellite that they've lost goes around the Earth and comes back. But yeah, I think they've got a lot of potential, and all you need is something that they've needed for a couple of years is to bin Harry Maguire, but don't just keep him because he's expensive, well, maybe not bin him, but add to your defense and defensive midfield, and so that to stop being so soft. I think there's a lot of potential going forward, though, Abdul. I don't know. What would you do if you were in charge of United?
Yeah, I think I would be giving Zidane a blank check. Like, I don't think there is a better manager out there. They should have got Conte if they had the balls, but they clearly didn't. But I don't know. There's something admirable about the approach that they're taking. They've said that, Ollie's been here for 3 years, and this is the first kind of real blip that he's had, which is fair enough. I think Ollie has done a good job relatively. He's taken United out of a pretty dark period and given them some kind of spark. But yeah, it's a results game. So if he doesn't bring out the results, then yeah, I would definitely be getting rid of him. At Manchester United, you're supposed to be the biggest club in the world. So if your manager is glaringly subpar, and you got to hope that, well, you actually hope that they don't. But yeah, I mean, if you're running a club that big, you got to hope that you know a bit about football to see that he's glaringly subpar. And then you got to pull the trigger. Man United don't want for money. They don't need to haggle with anything. Just get Zidane in and start playing to the strengths of your squad. Get Pogba unleashed finally, buy a defensive midfielder, get another centre-back in, like you said, and coach them well. And I think there's a very good team there for United. But yeah, if they do at the end of the season, I think it still might be good for them. It gives them a bit of time to prepare a landing strip for the new manager. So whichever way they go, I think either Ollie proves himself or they get a new manager ASAP.
I think they're waiting for Poch.
You think
wait for Pochettino? Yeah, I don't think he's having a good time in France, to be fair. Owen, you're the expert on this, but he seems to be struggling to get the team that he's got playing the football he wants, because he hasn't really got the players to play the football that he wants, which is mad when you consider all the riches of PSG. But I think there's a squad more suited to Pochettino's style of football at United than there is at PSG. I think they've wanted Poch for a while, didn't go for him when he went to PSG, and they should have. And I think they wait and go and get him in the summer, let him win a league in France, and then he can say, well, we've got this proven title winner coming in, and you can ignore some of the criticisms, valid or not, of French football, and you've got yourself a league winning manager. He's probably not going to win the Champions League at PSG, but he might. Doesn't really change anything. I think the fans want him. I think if you're going to ask the fans who they want, I think the majority would, at the minute, say Pochettino.
It could be a... Go on.
No, I really think United, if they are smart, they really would go for Graham Potter. I think he plays a similar... Like, he plays a good style of football that they want to see there at Old Trafford. He's British. He's from this new generation of coaches like Nagelsmann and Xavi and, Eric Ten Hag, where they really do have a clear idea about structure. And it's the complete opposite, I think, of what Ollie gives. And I think it would be such a good move for them, but I don't think they have the balls to make a shrewd move like that, basically.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they would go for... I think Graham Potter would be a great appointment for loads of clubs. Arsenal, the traditional, like, big clubs. Tottenham could have gone for him. That would have been great. But I think well done for them for getting Conte. But the thing with United, for me, you see, is that at the moment, Ole has got 3 trophies as a manager to his name. 2 Norwegian league titles and 1 Norwegian Cup. If Pochettino wins, he could easily win the domestic treble here in France. Not necessarily, but he could easily do it. And then fail, as PSG usually do, in the Champions League for one reason or another. Even if he wins the domestic treble, I mean, PSG have sacked their manager for less, to be honest, in the past. It's very strange. But they're pretty, it's like the owners don't really care. They only care about the Champions League. But yeah, even if Poch comes to England after that, I think United should go for someone, with the profile of Zidane, who's already won the Champions League, who's already, really got a long CV of success. Of course, they tried that with Mourinho, but that was the wrong fit because he's like a defensive-minded spenderholic who likes to exhaust his players, and people are quite tired of listening to the guy, I think. But
so,
go on.
I was just going to say the other problem with Zidane. Now, obviously, I don't know the guy, but reputationally, he's viewed as very much a man manager. Capable of getting the best out of really big players. The problem that you'd have with Zidane going to United is that he doesn't speak English.
Yeah, but I think that's something that some people say is a factor, and it can be. I mean, it depends, I don't know how good Unai Emery's translator was at Arsenal, but I think it depends on the translator. Bielsa, for example, still, doesn't speak English in public, but I'm sure he's a lot better now. But, he's had a translator for ages. Pochettino, when he came, was it at Southampton when he had a translator for a long time? He still managed to get his ideas across. And I think Zidane could anyway, but I want to think about that because I want to think about Liverpool. I want to move on. I want to think about the, manager success, because the next game that we're going to talk about is Villa versus Brighton. Okay. And there are lots of Liverpool fans who seem to think it's inevitable that Steven Gerrard is just on this path back to L4. And it's a matter of time before he becomes the Liverpool manager. I don't want to see it for years. But they asked him, those journalists, what do you call them? Sort of, I want to say soul sucking. It might be a bit harsh, but they asked him, is it not a bit, what do you think about, Aston Villa being a stepping stone in your career? And Steven Gerrard said, okay, and I quote, "I'm all in and I will give this job everything that it needs for it to be a success. I'll be 100% committed and so will my staff. It's very unfair to ask me that. And you'll never hear me saying that it's a stepping stone. For me, I'm really honoured and proud to be in this position. That's what he said. That's the start of what he said. So he said it's very unfair, and you'll never hear me saying it's a stepping stone. But then the very next thing he said was, there is nothing wrong in football with having dreams and aspirations, but Liverpool have already got a world-class coach in Jurgen Klopp, and that they are happy with. So obviously he's saying, I'm never going to say it's a stepping stone, but I definitely want the Liverpool job. I don't know, Abdul. I think he's miles away from Liverpool in my estimation. What do you think about Gerrard going to Villa and then this being his first game, Villa versus Brighton, and also the last game of the season is Villa versus Manchester City as well. So there you go, the whole Steven Gerrard thing, Villa, Brighton, go wherever you want, Abdul.
Yeah, I think everybody's been waiting for this ever since he got, into under 19 coaching. We were like, he needs to do a proper first team job before we can trust him with the Liverpool throne. And I think that's been the majority opinion from the entire fan base. Obviously, you've got a few crazy people who think, give him the job. He's Steven Gerrard. He'll do a great job. But I think everybody does feel like he needs to prove himself. So I think we're all glad that he's at a Premier League club now, and we can see what he's really made of. I think Villa have got a cracking starting 11, to be fair. And yeah, they need an energy change. And I think the Gerrard appointment for them is actually quite a good one because he's definitely a guy full of energy. How are you an Aston Villa player right now and you're not buzzing to go into training tomorrow morning because you know that Steven Gerrard's going to be there taking you out for a few drills, taking you out for a shooting practice? You're going to be screaming for Gerrard, or you take a shot yourself, So I think it's definitely what Villa needed. We'll have to see how the results go, but it can't get any worse. I mean, they've lost their last 5 games in a row. I think I got into a really big, a really long Twitter debate yesterday. If anybody remembers the Twitter user Copology, I think he's still about. He's a different name now, but very, very ego-driven guy. But we basically got into it because somebody was saying that Pep Lijnders deserves to be considered for the Liverpool job when and if Klopp eventually says that he wants to go. And everybody was like, oh, that's ridiculous. Why would you ever say that? When the time comes, we need to have somebody who's completely proven at the top level. There will definitely be a better candidate than Pep Lijnders at that point. And it's like, yeah, maybe there will be. Maybe there will be. But I think Pep Lijnders does deserve to have his credentials viewed, at least by Michael Gordon and Julian Ward when they're making the decision. I think, we have a history at this club, the boot room, the way that Paisley followed Shankly. We have something really good for us here set up. We have a very clear philosophy, structure. From the top to the bottom, the club works very well. So when it does come to time for Klopp to step away, I don't necessarily want to hire somebody who's going to come in with like brand new ideas. Like, yeah, brand new ideas, cool. Work on the details, but we're not going to rip up the game plan, and Pep Lijnders might be the right person for that. And maybe Steven Gerrard will be as well. But if he doesn't do so well at Villa, then I wouldn't put him as high up my list as Pep Lijnders. But yeah, I'll throw that one out to you guys.
Yeah, no, it's really, really interesting. Ryan, I'm going to go to you about it because I would say that Pep Lijnders, no matter what happens between here and 2024, no matter what happens, unless Steven Gerrard somehow manages to win the Premier League, I would say that Pep Lijnders is more qualified or will be more qualified than Steven Gerrard because he's been an assistant. He's been in the camp that has won the Premier League, that has won the Champions League, that has gone on record-breaking runs in terms of unbeaten runs at home and tons of records that Liverpool have broken in the past 3 or 4 years. I think Pep Lijnders is much more qualified. What do you think?
I don't think Pep is. I'll be honest, I don't want Klopp to ever leave. I think that's my position on this. But when he does, I don't necessarily want either Lijnders or Gerrard to take over. I think, if Klopp walked out the door now, I'd be like Eric Ten Hag. would be my pick. Now, can I see Linders or Gerrard being given the job? Yes, of course can. I think this is a bad decision from Gerrard. I don't get why he's gone to Villa. I don't see what, like, I can't see him winning a cup. I can't see him winning the league. I can see him maybe getting into the Europa League and having a decent cup run, but I can't really see, like, if Leicester aren't winning the Europa League, then I can't see Villa winning the Europa League. At Rangers, he did some good stuff, but a lot of it was more Neil Lennon shot holes in the boat at Celtic, and Celtic's level dropped rather than Rangers' level did increase under Gerrard, but it didn't increase by as much as Celtic's dropped. I think if Brendan Rodgers, for example, was still in charge at Celtic, they'd be winning 10 in a row last season.
Yeah,
I just think he should have stayed at Rangers. I think he's as likely to be given the Liverpool job having stayed at Rangers and got them into the Champions League or the scenic route to the Europa League knockout stages as he is going and finishing somewhere between 7th and 13th at Villa. Like, in an ideal situation, if Gerrard was going to be given the Liverpool job, I'd like Linders to still be his number 2. And we keep the continuity that way. I think whichever way you go with those two, there's still an element of the boot room philosophy there, which is good.
Yeah,
but
I think with
go on, okay.
Villa, they're not going to win a title or trophy this season, and I think Gerrard knew that. But I think for Villa, the reason why they wanted Gerrard in, rather than any other manager, was because when they lost Grealish this summer, they lost, their talisman, their kind of heart and soul of their club at that time. And they didn't really replace that in any kind of players that they signed. But Steven Gerrard, I feel like they think that he can come in and be this larger than life figure, like Klopp was for us, who can kind of galvanize the club and be a talismanic figure for Villa. And maybe they won't win that much, and maybe they won't get high up the table, but it will at least keep Villa fans very entertained. And I think that's also what Gerrard wants to prove at Villa. I think he wants to prove that he is an electric figure on the sideline and he will get big results and big moments and he'll be a blockbuster manager, basically. And then hopefully he thinks that the Liverpool hierarchy will be like, well, Klopp's leaving. We need somebody who's got a similar electric kind of talismanic energy. I think that is pretty much what everybody's thinking is. But yeah, you're right. I think even if he had stayed at Rangers, he would have had the exact same chance of being a Liverpool manager when the time came. So it's a risk for Gerrard, I think. But the fact that he's taken it, I think it says a lot about him.
Yeah, very interesting. Very, very good answer. We can talk for ages and ages about this, I'm sure, but we've got other games to follow and preview for on Saturday. There were 3 more 3:00 kickoffs. Burnley, Crystal Palace. Can't really be bothered to talk about that one. Sean Dyche against Gallagher and Zaha. Other than I like Crystal Palace this season. Sean Dyche is Sean Dyche. There you go. That's the preview of that one. Norwich, Southampton. Dean Smith back in the Premier League after 1 week in which he was cycling around Central Park, he said. I like Dean Smith. Good luck to him. And that's the preview of Norwich, Southampton. Newcastle, Brentford. I do want to ask you very quickly, guys, before we talk about Liverpool, Arsenal, which is the big one, of course, for us. Newcastle, Brentford, Ryan, Eddie Howe. For me, he's on a hiding to nothing at Newcastle, but what do you think about it?
I like Eddie Howe. I think, his Bournemouth team played pretty football. Don't get me wrong, the edged closer and closer and closer to relegation and eventually went down, and sure. But for the most part, I think he's a decent manager. I think Newcastle have got a big enough checkbook to help him get. I just don't know who it is. When if I cast my mind back all the way to when Chelsea got that money, you're like, well, they're gonna rate West Ham. Or when City got all that money, you could play a little bit of footy manager and just be like, well, yeah, of course you go out and sign Robinho. I can't see who Newcastle sign. I think there's already too many super rich clubs, and I include Liverpool in that. In that we are a more attractive proposition that can probably pay comparative wages to Newcastle and get the players that we want. There's Chelsea, City, United, Tottenham are probably a more attractive proposition, which means Arsenal are, which means Leicester are. PSG are out there still. Bayern Munich are out there still. Juve, both Milan clubs, probably, if they can't pay the same amount of money, are still a bigger attraction. Even Barca, as cash strapped as they are, and I love the Dani Alves move. Are still a more attractive proposition than Newcastle. I don't get why people would go there. The money is great and everything, but you can get great money other places, and I don't see the tidal wave of world class talent. I don't see a Juan Varane rocking up at St James's Park or the modern equivalent to that. Your ideas on a hiding to nothing.
Yeah, but I think he is. But I think if money talks, and there are so many really interesting players, really really good players who are up for who are out of contract, and that's happening more and more in football, where players are letting their contracts run down so that they can get great signing on bonuses, and they can get super high wages. And as long as there is no wage cap in the Premier League, then they can go to town if Eddie Howe keeps them up. And I think if he keeps them up, if he manages to keep them up, I think they can quite easily bin him off in the summer, get a more high-profile manager, like see if Carlo Magnifico wants another shot at Premier League action. See if Rafa, after being sacked by Everton because he's adored by the Newcastle faithful, see if they give Rafa a shot at money with money for once. Rafa with money, imagine that. He's never had it really. I think that's why he's on a hiding to nothing. But in terms of attracting players, if they're on a free transfer, and if you're a player and you have no particular affinity to any English club, you're Brazilian, for example, you're from Argentina, and you're quite like Man United, or you're quite like Liverpool or Arsenal, but Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal are all offering you 100 grand a week. Newcastle are offering you 400 grand a week. Obviously, becomes a bit of an appeal, So I think that's how they're going to get these big players, is initially anyway, is by giving them the big bucks. What do you reckon about Eddie Howe and Newcastle, the whole situation, Abdul?
I think, firstly, I thought the Eddie Howe move was really smart from them, not just because he plays a good style of football, but didn't he keep Bournemouth up like 4 seasons in a row in a relegation battle?
Yeah, 4 out of 5 seasons. Yeah, absolutely.
So first things first, that was a short-term kind of, we need a manager who's going to help us stay up, and Eddie Howe has got a proven track record of doing that. Secondly, he does play pretty football, like Ryan said, and it's interesting he said pretty, because if you try and describe Man City, for example, you wouldn't just say pretty, you'd say calculated, ruthless, and also pretty. But yeah, that is kind of the potential flaw with Eddie Howe. It's like, it's pretty, but does it have the right kind of solidity in the structure, and is it solid defensively? So that's going to be the question for him. And third point, I think what was important for Newcastle, firstly, I don't think they're going to make any big signings anytime soon. I don't even think in the summer window that's coming like next season, I don't think they're going to make £150,000 a week players. I don't even think that. I think their transfer strategy, and it's unfortunate for them because they just got into it a bit too late, these new owners, but I think the Premier League have wisened up. I don't think the Premier League are going to allow Newcastle to just come in and just pay people dumb money. I think they're going to somehow try and restrain them. And I think as a result, the Newcastle owners realize this, and I think they're going to go for a more longer term, slower approach. But the most important thing for them is that they in a manager who gets a kind of football philosophy down at the very foundational level, because they can put up with Eddie Howe for like 2 or 3 seasons and let him train up a quality young group of players with some kind of principle, just like Liverpool did when we hired Brendan Rodgers, right? We got him in, he has a good philosophy, and then obviously it stopped working. We get in Klopp, and Klopp just builds on top of that. But we already had a solid foundation. I think that's all they want from Eddie Howe for the next season or two. They just want somebody who's going to be actually a really good coach on the training ground, who's going to develop young players. And I think they'll make some shrewd moves. So I've heard like that Niklas Süle, his contract's coming to an end at Bayern. I think that could be like a lot of players are coming out like, oh, my contract's coming to an end, and Newcastle is an option for them. And I think those will be the types of moves that they make. Like not world-class players, but like a level below, or even like young players coming up to world class.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much what I think. I think it's an interesting situation. I want to see. I'm excited to see, but I hope they do it properly. I hope they focus on the training ground, the structure of the club, make it good business, and then hopefully the results will come on the pitch. But I think it's 5 years out minimum before they actually start challenging City and Chelsea and United and Liverpool.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. I mean, if FFP does work with wages, then they're going to have to find, pay some top lawyers like City did to get away with it on technical grounds, or however they managed to get away with it. But just, that list of players that, has been read out before, on Cop On and on other podcasts, the list of players who are out of contract next summer. Kylian Mbappe, who's said publicly he's going to Real Madrid, and I believe he is. Paul Pogba, Frank Kessié, Paulo Dybala, Ousmane Dembele, Insigne, Brozovic, Rudiger, Sula, Belotti, Andreas Christensen, Jesus Corona, Boubacar Kamara, who, if you haven't seen, is a wonderful talent from Marseille, only 20 years old, I believe. Matthias Ginter, Dennis Zakaria. The list goes on and on. James Tarkowski, Denaya, Kramaric, tons of players that could be very, very interesting for Newcastle. We're going to, skip past 2 games on Sunday. Man City versus Everton. I mean, come on, Rafa. That's all I've got to say about that. Rafa Benitez masterclass at the Empty-Had, filling it with the joy of an Andros Townsend screamer against Man City. That would be beautiful. And Tottenham versus Leeds, we're going to skip past that because we're running out of time. And I just want to focus on the big one, which is Liverpool-Arsenal. Now, Arsenal in the last 6 matches, they've won the last 4 in the Premier League, and they drew the 2 before that, and that's as far as back as I've checked. I've only looked at the last 6 games. So they've drawn 2. They've won the last 4. They're ahead of us on the form table. They're in
Unbeaten
5th position. Unbeaten in 10. Thank you very much. Wow. If they win, they're 1 point ahead of Liverpool, which is crazy, kooky town. I'm nervous about this one because I think, our soft underbelly, we're, made of noodles, made of glass noodles, and, overcooked glass noodles at that in midfield. But then on the other hand, Ryan, it's Arsenal. It's at Anfield. Mo Salah is my captain of my fantasy Premier League team, as he is every week, because I think he's going to run riot as he usually does. No,
yours and everyone's team, mate.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm flapping it about this, lads. Like any optimism you can give my way, I will happily take. I really like Saka. I really like Smith Rowe. I think Arteta's got the balance right in his team. I think Tomiyasu's been a really good signing. I think Ramsdale's been a really good signing. Sorry, like I'd never back against Liverpool. I just need to be told. Do you know what I need? I need a Damien Cavana from the Anfield rap speech about how Liverpool are going to do Arsenal, and then I'll be fine.
Well, I can't promise you that, but I can give you some good stats, right? Hang on, let's bring them up here.
Okay,
since Jurgen Klopp took charge of Liverpool, Arsenal have won just 1 of 11 Premier League games against the Reds. So Liverpool have won 7, drawn 3, and lost only 1. Okay. What else can I say? Liverpool have won their last 5 home Premier League matches against Arsenal. And our last defeat, I believe, I looked it up yesterday, I can't remember, but I believe it was in 2012 when Lucas Podolski scored. So I don't know if that makes you feel any better, Ryan. And also shots, general shots from open play. Liverpool have scored 23 goals and we've scored 6 from set pieces. Arsenal have also scored 6 from set pieces, but they've only scored 5 from open play all season. So surely
That makes me feel better.
They are good, right?
Yeah, there it is. Okay, we got it. So I think 5 from open play all season.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel better now. Because I think we've been scoring in 2s and 3s quite consistently throughout. I think it's going to be a high scoring win for Liverpool then. Get in.
Yeah, all right. 23 from open play. It's madness. It's mind-blowing. It's, I don't know, is it record breaking? I don't know, but we got 31 goals from 11 matches, averaging about 3 a game. Abdul, we're going forward. Something's happened this season. Even Bobby Firmino's knocking in hat-tricks whenever he's fit. But you know, there's something, I don't know. How optimistic are you feeling about this one?
To be fair, I just realized it was Liverpool Arsenal on this weekend. I was like, what the hell? Because a lot of the team that I love beating the most is always Arsenal. I don't know what it is. I just love it. They just roll up to Anfield and we give them a spanking every season. It's the best. And I think it's just because I hate Arsenal fans. But in terms of this match this weekend, I'm just thinking about our midfield. Henderson is potentially not 100% fit. We've got Fabinho, Thiago's back. And then Oxlade, I think that's it. That's 3 that we available weekend. So unless we're going to change up system and formation, I don't know what we're actually going to do in midfield. So
I heard that Curtis is fit. I don't know if it's true. Curtis Jones is fit. No, he's not.
Oh, Klopp confirmed earlier today that he's got something with his eye. Apparently, he's really bad, like nearly lost his eyesight. But apparently, he has to be out for a few more weeks. So, yeah.
Wow. Oh dear.
James Milner's not fit. They're both back next week. Cater and James, and then maybe Nico Williams will get a chance in midfield, or
Trent,
or maybe we'll change formation. We'll go 4-2-3-1. Play Minamino, and Oxlade in a deeper role. No, Oxlade. No, Thiago, Fabinho, and then at the moment it's Thiago, Fabinho, Oxlade. That's got to be our midfield. But yeah, after
I think Hendo's likely to make the bench.
Yeah, Hendo's probably going to make the bench or start. I wouldn't be surprised if he started. But it's just a bit light basically. So in that regard, I'm a bit concerned. But I think Arsenal, I don't fear them going forward. I rate Smith Rowe very highly. I do think he can cause us problems. So yeah, we do need a good midfield. But I don't think Aubameyang's going to score. I don't feel like Lacazette's going to score, or Pepe or Saka. So I think, we just need to... I just hope that we've learnt our lesson from West Ham, basically. I just want to see a good performance from us. And if we have a good performance, we should smash Arsenal. We should.
It's very interesting to talk about the midfield. I mean, if Chamberlain starts, I think he's a player, Ryan, that if he's given space, then he can tear teams apart. But when he's not given any space, then I don't know. He gives the ball away a lot. Was it 9 times in the first half he gave the ball away against West Ham? Yeah, it's not going to do well for your nerves, for your pre-match nerves.
So it depends. I think the thing with Oxlade-Chamberlain at the minute is he's going to be inconsistent. So if we get the Oxlade-Chamberlain that was given the freedom of Anfield to do whatever he wanted, like we saw against Atletico Madrid, then great. And there's a very real possibility that could happen. And he said, having previously sweated about Arsenal, because they're going to play a 4-4-2. There's the possibility that they get overrun in midfield, particularly I think if we play Thiago in there as well, who's a brilliant player at just picking out the pockets of space. I think if we get the Oxlade-Chamberlain that we saw against West Ham, where he's got a grok like Declan Rice up against them, not giving him any space, then he's going to struggle. And if he struggles, unfortunately, given the shape of the side at the minute, given the players that we haven't got at the minute, if he struggles, then we'll struggle. Because one of the things that we need to be able to do is remain on the front foot as much as possible. We're not a team built to sit on our own 18-yard line and catch them on the break. I mean, we can do that. It's not what we're built to spend 90 minutes doing. So, never ever thought that so much would be all on Oxlade-Chamberlain, but it feels like it's quite a fitting game for him to do it coming up against his old club. And I just hope for the best for him, because I do think he'll start. I think it's weird. Like someone else mentioned this earlier, but he's probably the fittest of our midfielders at the minute.
That is actually true.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty frightening. But no, it's interesting with Chamberlain because I think if you compare his performance in Europe against Atletico Madrid, and for some reason they were just giving him the freedom of the pitch, he was brilliant against them. He was absolutely instrumental in our win. But, against West Ham, they were closing him down. They were harassing him, harrying him, and he sort of panicked on a number of occasions and gave the ball away. And in this game, I can see him being harangued a little bit by the Arsenal midfielders, whoever they might be. Emil Smith-Rowe, you mentioned before, Abdul, 4 goals and 2 assists. He's Arsenal's equal top scorer, equal with Aubameyang, who also has 4 goals. Emil Smith-Rowe's played 893 minutes, and Aubameyang 790 minutes. Compare that to Naby Keita, for example, who's played 383 minutes, and James Milner, who's played about the same amount. So we need some midfielders. We do. But going back to the top of the show when Ryan was saying the league table doesn't lie, what do you think about the league table, Abdul? Are Liverpool really the 4th best team in the country, and if we lose this, the 5th best team in the country? Or is it just that we're gonna, we're gonna kick on at some point? We're gonna put a run together and show that we're much better than that.
Yeah, I mean, I said after the West Ham loss, I literally only posted 2 tweets that entire day about the football match. But it's like, if we're gonna get any losses or draws or bad football or bad performances, it was good that we got them out in the first 11 games. Because we really need to crush this next period. We need to crush going into Christmas. We need to crush coming out of Christmas. Then we need to crush the post-Christmas period in like January, February, March. So, yeah, I don't think we are the 4th best team in the country. I think we are the best team in the country, to be honest. I think we're playing under our level. But yeah, it's crazy how much we're scoring this season compared to like last season. Because it still feels like we're missing a lot of shots as well and a lot of chances. So we can still get better going forward, which is mental to say. We can get better at the back. Obviously, Virgil isn't up to full scratch yet. And then in midfield, we still have to nail our main midfield. So we have a lot of improvement to go. But I still think we're comfortably the 2nd best team in the country. I think City the best team in the country. I think Liverpool the 2nd best, and then Chelsea the 3rd best.
I mean, on our day, I would agree with you. I'm just going to share my screen, which obviously the listeners won't have a clue what's on it. There aren't too many, naked people or animals or anything like that on my screen. It's actually a list of Liverpool results. And the Liverpool results, they go back to, maybe it's a bit small on your screens. I'm going to zoom in. They go back to last year, November last year, sort of after the international break. We started with a 3-0 win over Leicester City. Okay, that was the 22nd of November 2020. Then we drew with Brighton. We beat Wolverhampton 4-0. Then we drew with Fulham. We beat Tottenham 2-1. We beat Crystal Palace 7-0. And then we got into the Christmas period where on the 27th of December, we drew with West Brom, and then we drew with Newcastle. So until the end of December, before we get into that awful January when things went absolutely awful, after the international break, we played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. We won 4 of them, and we drew 4 of them, and already, Ryan, the draws are killing me. They're waking me up at 5 a.m. and I'm having nightmares about it. What did I dreamt that Thiago Silva. I dreamt we were losing a match 1-0 at half time, and Thiago Silva played for Liverpool. And I was trying to tell Thiago Silva that we can come back and win because we're Liverpool. And he said, no, we can't because we're too disorganized. Can you analyze that dream? And are the draws killing you? We need to do better than last year.
So
I don't know.
The first thing to say on that is that we already are doing better than last year. Point for point, we are ahead of. I think it's game for game actually. The games that we dropped points in last season, we've picked up points in this season.
Okay.
For the largest part, so that's a good step in the right direction. In terms of your Thiago Silva dream, I mean, he's a dreamy man. Like, good on you.
Well, it's a very good analysis. I recommend that, a career in psychoanalysis if you wish to change. To go back, I'm going to share my screen again. More results. This is from the year before. And of course, Abdul, this is what we really want to see, because in 2019, the screen's all green for wins. In 2019, after the international break, we beat Crystal Palace, Brighton, Everton, Bournemouth, Watford, Leicester and Wolverhampton. And then we continued in January and we beat Sheffield United, Tottenham, Manchester United, Wolverhampton and West Ham United. And it continues beyond at the bottom of my screen. But they're just win after win after win after win. And Abdul, we want to get back there. Do you think we can do something like that, Abdul? Do you think we can? I think we need to at this stage. We've dropped so many points from winning positions. We've drawn already 4 out of 11 matches. It's far too many. Can you see that coming when we could put on like 8 wins in a row, for example, Abdul? Really?
Well, the word that you use there is the key, right? Need. We need that to happen. It's not even a question this season. If we want to win the league, we need that to happen. And luckily, over the last 4 or 5 years being a Liverpool fan, when we need to do something, our boys always step up. And I love just the organic development of this team. It never, even after we did that amazing year when we won like everything, obviously between 2 different seasons, but when we like won everything over that 18-month period, it was like we were at the top of the world, and all those wins, it felt like we could never lose. But with this Liverpool team under Klopp, there's always a North Star guiding us. There's always fire in the bellies of every single player. They want to improve. They want to win more. And I feel that with the team right now. After the way that last season ended, I think a lot of players have a lot to prove. And that is the exact kind of mentality that's going to drive us to do what we need to do. So yeah, I feel confident in us. And that's why I think that we're the best team in the league, by the way. Not because we play better football than Man City or we have a better squad than Chelsea, but because I think at the end of the day, football is this beautiful story sport, right? It's not even about, you can get your XG and your XA or whatever, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to these beautiful narratives. And I think that when you come to narratives, Liverpool are just the undisputed champion. So I'm very, very confident that we are going to do it. Fingers crossed.
I like it. I love it, actually. I love the optimism. Thank you very much for sharing that. Ryan, I'm gonna go to you, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm, in that great run in 2019. I mean, looking at the results, there were so many nils, we didn't concede against Bournemouth, Watford, Leicester, Wolves, Sheffield United, Tottenham, and Manchester United. That was all in a row, and we won all of those matches. I don't see it yet, because then we had Henderson, of course, and Wijnaldum, but they were sort of 2 years fitter than they are now. And I can see Henderson's fitness sadly waning. Of course, Wijnaldum's gone. And I just think we just lack the dynamism. Am I just being a pessimistic old fart? What do you think?
2 things. Firstly, this opinion is brought to you by CaliDesigns.co.uk. And secondly,
good choice.
I'll be honest, I had so much wind in my sails to answer your question until you told me that Henderson and Van Alden were 2 years fitter, and then it got me right in the feels. I feel what you feel there, and now, Owen, I'm quite sad. If I have any hope, it's that Curtis Jones is 2 years stronger from what he was a couple of seasons ago. And down the back straight to this season, certainly I expect more from him. I expect Harvey Elliott to come back in and be brilliant. But the question still remains of a lack of bite in our midfield, and I think that's been our biggest problem so far this season. I think Fabinho has been missing for longer than you give him credit for being missing here, and that will be less from here on out. I think I'm hoping that at least one of Thiago and Henderson plays every game between now and the end of the season, because if we've got Fabinho and at least one of Thiago and Henderson, we'll win every game. There's a bold prediction.
There you go. Excellent. Well, it's all right. It doesn't matter. Keep saying it.
I'm just convincing myself.
That's all right. That's fine. That's fine. That'll do me. And I think that's enough. That's all. I think that's all we've got time for. Thank the heavens. Whatever. Gods you may believe in. Respect to you. Respect to you. If you don't believe in any gods, perhaps you believe in some kind of mystical energy field. Perhaps you don't. But whatever
there's only one
to
god.
Believe in,
a man knows his name.
So who knows his name?
It's a Game of Thrones reference. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I
get a
was
bit
going to
feral
say.
at the end of this podcast.
Jurgen, Virgil, Mo. I don't know. I didn't know which one you meant. But well done, everyone, for listening. Thanks. CaliDesigns.co.uk. The code is COP10. Just do all your Christmas shopping in one go there. Thank you very much. Follow Abdul at watch_LFC. Have I got that right? I often get it wrong.
Absolutely,
that's
right.
Yeah. Okay, good. Excellent. At watch_LFC. Brilliant content on Twitter. And Ryan, have you got anything to plug?
Don't follow me. I don't like being followed.
Very good. He'll call the police if you follow him. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. It's been brilliant. Thank all the gods. That's what I was getting at before. I didn't actually finish what I was saying. Thank all of the gods, wherever they are, whoever they are, for bringing the Premier League back to our plate this weekend, and we shall chow down happily. Thank you very much, and speak to you soon.
Adios, lads.